Today, guys, we got our hands on the brand new Milwaukee M18 HotShot Jump Starter, unveiled just this weekend at the ISN Tool Show in Orlando, Florida. Now, there was a lot of hype about the unveiling of this new tool because so many of you have been asking over and over again for Milwaukee to come out with a jump starter specifically on the M18 platform. Now, I saw a lot of positives and a lot of excitement about the unveiling of this product, but there was a lot of comments, concerns, and questions about it and its capabilities on the shorts that came out over the weekend. Now, we've got our hands on it. We can do some in-depth testing. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the video, do some more testing, see what the limits of this thing are, and see just how good of a tool it actually is. So guys, to start off, a general overview of the tool itself. So starting at the top, we've got this nice spring-loaded carry handle. We've got an LED light bar here that has a couple different brightness and a safety strobe that you activate with this button right here. We also have a USB button here, as you see, that activates the power port here, Type-C USB for recharging your phone, laptop, or any other electronic devices. We've got a power button here, a charge button here, and a start button here and or override button. Now we'll get into that a little bit later. On the side here, we've got these nice cables and nice cable ends. A lot of jump starters have really cheap ones, really thin ones. These are a good thick gauge, and they have a nice set of jaws on them for getting onto top post and side post batteries. A lot of those jump starters have cheap claws or cheap clamps and are hard to get on a GM side terminal battery. Now with this, we have a CP30 battery on it. Now Milwaukee has made this specifically for a 5.0 or larger, but it should work on every single battery pack. Milwaukee says that with a 5.0 on it, it's good for up to 70 jump starts. Now this is good for an 8.1 liter gas engine or a 3 liter diesel engine. Now a lot of you had concerns over the capacity on a diesel engine only covering up to a 3 liter. So we're going to test that a little bit today and see if it can go above and beyond that in a pinch, or if 3.0 diesel is basically all you're going to get out of this thing. Now the way this works is different from your traditional lithium ion jump pack. As you can see, I've got it right beside the Topdon V4500 Plus as a size comparison, so you can get an idea of the overall size of this jump starter. And we'll also talk about some benefits that are unique to this compared to any other one on the market right now. So to start off, the big difference about how this works compared to a traditional lithium jump starter is there is no internal battery in the HotShot itself. The power comes from your M18 battery you put on the bottom of the tool. Now, the way this works, and I'm going from recollection from what I was told at the tool show, so apologies if I get anything incorrect in this explanation, but basically what they do is they take the power from the battery pack and they charge an internal capacitance bank. That's what this button is for, is to charge the internal capacitors, which once we turn it on, I'll show you a little bit more about. So the power is drawn out of the battery, charges these internal capacitors, and then you have a jump starter override feature that gives you roughly 30 seconds to discharge these capacitors into the battery and give you that jump start performance. Whereas in a traditional jump box, you have an internal lithium cell and some capacitors that do the same thing, but just a little bit different from how Milwaukee does. Now, one downside to traditional lithium jump starters are that normally they take a heck of a long time to charge up. I know my NOCO box is very long to charge, especially if you don't have their fast charger that they conveniently don't give you with the jump starter when you purchase it. It is a separate purchase. I think it takes about a day to charge up my NOCO GBX75. This Topdon doesn't take that long, but it still takes quite a while, especially compared to the Milwaukee that you can throw any M18 battery you already have on hand onto this, and especially as quickly as those batteries charge with a rapid or fast charger. So you have that advantage of using any battery at any time, ready to go to jumpstart, whereas with these, it takes a while to charge them back up and can be a pain if you need to jumpstart and have not charged up. So with this tool, another thing that is really handy about it is the fact that it has this interchangeable battery platform. How many times have you bought a smaller or cheap jump starter to throw in your truck, throw in a saddlebag on your motorcycle, on your ATV, etc.? You charge it up to 100, throw it in there, and forget about it for months and months and months. Then comes the time where you actually need to jumpstart something and your battery is dead, and lo and behold, after sitting all that time, the battery has discharged 50%, 75%, 60%, and when it comes time to jumpstart your vehicle, it's too weak to jumpstart because you charged it up and forgot about it back in the vehicle. Well, with the Milwaukee, you can just toss a HotShot in any one of those applications, and as long as you have a fully charged M18 battery ready to go, slap it on there and you're ready to jumpstart. So no more issue about putting the tool aside fully charged and worrying about it discharging over months before it's needed for an emergency situation. So there are benefits to this system, but there are also downfalls to it. So most lithium jump starters can provide solid 12-volt power or 14-volt or roundabout for an application. Say you have a car that comes in with a dead alternator and a dead battery. You need to jump start it, but you also have to power it enough to get it driven into the shop. Well, the Milwaukee has a 30-second capacitor discharge to start and crank the engine, but I don't believe it supplies a consistent power output to power the engine for a short amount of time like a traditional lithium jump starter. So there are pros and cons, but I believe that the pros outweigh the cons in this equation, especially given the convenience of the M18 battery platform being what powers it. Now, as far as the battery goes on the bottom of this tool, I know they say a 5.0 and larger is recommended, but at the end of the day, the battery cell is just a fuel tank. So if you have a 3.0 or a 12.0 forge on here, the only thing that is going to change is the amount of jump starts that you have. How many times the battery can discharge into the capacitance bank, charge the capacitance bank, and jumpstart a car. It's not going to give you any more jumping power or amperage depending on the battery on the bottom. It's just how many times can the battery charge that capacitance bank inside. So there's no difference in performance of jumpstart based on the size or type of battery, whether it's a high output or an XC, etc. So full transparency here, this is actually the second time trying to film this video. I tried to film it yesterday and it was a nightmare of issues and errors with the jump starter. It was getting rained on several times throughout the day and getting stung by a bunch of hornets hiding in some of the Subarus in the Subaru junkyard. Now, I think I have alleviated my issues. They were user error issues, and I'm going to talk about those in this video as well to keep you from potentially having those issues or problems with your HotShot like I did yesterday. I had to go back through the manual again and look at it very closely to figure out what I was doing wrong, but I think I got it figured out now and we shouldn't have any issues filming today. So now we'll look a little bit more about the controls and display on this tool. So first we'll hit the power button to power it up. Now on this side you see a battery icon. Once you hook up to the battery that you want to jumpstart, it will display the voltage. I believe if it's under 1.5 volts, it will not display, but you have the ability to jump either a weak or completely dead battery using the override feature here, which is pushing and holding this. This display shows the capacitance charge. As you see, we're at 73% now. We'll push the charge button, and it will take the power from this 3.0 battery and charge the internal capacitors. From 0 to 100 takes about 70 seconds. Now, once we get it fully charged up, we will hit the override button, hook up our cables, and jumpstart this car. I was getting errors the other day if I hooked it up prior to hitting the override because the battery voltage was too low in this completely dead battery. So we will go through, pull our leads off. We'll hook our positive up here. We have positioned the light, so if it's dark and we need to jump start, we can turn our light on to light up our work area. We'll push and hold our override button here. As you see, we got a countdown, 29 seconds. We'll hook up, go under the hood, or go in the car, and start the car. So we have the vehicle jump started, running great. Look over our display, we got 98% on a capacitor, so the next jump start will only take about 2% charge on the capacitor to be 100%. Let's go ahead and see how many more cars we can jump start with completely dead batteries on just this 3.0 battery. As I said before, the 5.0 that Milwaukee recommends and larger batteries should do about 70 jump starts. I'm not assuming any kind of number from this smaller capacity battery. Again, it's just the amount of times that the battery can put charge into the capacitance bank to jump start. It's nothing to do with the actual jump starting power or how much power it can put to the battery to jump start. It's about how many jump starts you get by that battery pack on the bottom. So guys, we're down in the Subaru junkyard now. We got a 2008 Outback with a completely dead battery. I'm gonna hook up to this real quick and try to show you the error message I was getting yesterday and why I'm jumping it the way I am. So we hook up our power, hook up our ground, and we get an E1 error here, which is for a connection error, according to the manual. So I'm assuming there's a dead cell or a short somewhere in the battery, and that's why it's giving that E1, because so many of these had a dead battery or a defunct battery. So as a safety measure, when that E1 is displayed, you cannot do the override. So what we're gonna do now, again, like I showed before, we're at 97%. I don't think we need to charge the full 100. We're gonna push and hold the override. When it gives our 30-second countdown, we're gonna hook up the negative, go inside and crank once again. Override's activated, 30-second timer, hook up our cable. And we have another successful jump start. As you can see, our capacitance is 96%. I don't know for sure, but I assume in jumping these cars, the alternator back feeds to recharge the capacitor, so you don't have to use the battery pack every single time. And just to show you here, we still have full 4 bars on our CP 3.0 battery. Now we're on to a 2011 Legacy, again with another completely flat battery. Again, gonna hook up, override, jump start once again, turn our battery pack on, hook up our positive lead, 95% charge, push and hold override, override activated, 30-second countdown, hook up. And we start once again. I'm not exactly sure what's with the long crank on these, but I have been noticing it. But now that we've got the car running, I can show you that we are putting out 14.4 volts. Alternator is charging. And we got an E2, which I believe is over voltage error because of the car running. Now we're over on a 2000 Outback, 2.5, manual 5-speed. Again, we're charged to 98% on the capacitor. Hook up our negative and positives. Dead battery, so we get that. We didn't get the error this time, but we're gonna go ahead and push it and hold override. 30 seconds. And once again, we have a successful jump start of a completely dead battery. As you see, reading 1.5 volts here, 1.4 volts as we continue to drop down, 1.3. Let's actually see, so 1.2 looks like the bare minimum voltage this will pick up and allow you to jump start without hitting the override. So now we've seen this thing start successfully a couple of 2.5 liter Subaru engines, which are on the small side. What will it do against this 5.2 liter Dodge V8? Now, full disclosure, this truck will not start as it's got a failed fuel pump. We're just gonna go and jump start with a completely dead battery just to see how many revolutions we get and what kind of power, cranking speed we get from this jump starter alone. So we're gonna go ahead and hook up, power up. We'll charge our capacitance all the way up to 100, even though we're at 94, just so we have maximum cranking power. And we are to 100%. We got our error because that battery is dead, likely with a bad cell. We're gonna do our override, hook up, and crank, again, just to see what kind of cranking speed we get. So that was some pretty good speed out of that crank, and that was some pretty good RPM we got. So had the fuel pump been working, it should have been able to start this truck no issue, even being a 5.2 liter V8 with a fully dead battery. So pretty impressive in that regard. Now, as we were cranking, you could hear as the cranking speed, RPM, all of that lessened as we cranked, as those capacitors gave that big burst of electricity and then dissipated down to, as you see here on the display, 30% charge on that capacitor. So that shows how the capacitance discharge works and how it gives a big burst that tapers off, where a standard lithium-ion battery pack pretty much gives you a consistent amount of power through the jump start and through the crank. So we'll go through and jump start, or go through and charge this capacitance bank back up to 100 really quickly on this 3 liter or 3.0 battery, just to time it. And we are back to 100%. Now, I don't believe I'd mentioned this in the beginning, but the capacitors in here are rated by Milwaukee to 500,000 charge-discharge cycles. A lot of people worry about capacitors and their lifespan, but Milwaukee says 500,000 on this, so you should get a very long life out of this HotShot jump starter. Also, we're going to turn it off real quick and check to see how much power we still have, and it's hard to tell out here, but that 3.0 is still showing 4 full bars of power. So to talk about capacities and rated operation of this tool, again, we said 8.1 liter gas engines and 3 liter diesel engines. A lot of people had issues or pushback about 3 liter diesels. So the other day I tried to see if we could push past that 3 liter diesel and do something a little bit bigger. Now I went a lot bigger because that's what I had to try, being the old Snap-on truck here. Now, my Snap-on truck's been sitting for a while. The battery got low. When I hooked it up, it was showing about 10 volts. So it wasn't completely dead, but it is a dual battery system, big batteries, deep cycle, and it is a 6.7 liter Cummins diesel. It's not a small diesel engine. Now, I hooked it up, tried not once but twice. Neither time could it get the truck to fire. It was able to spin the engine over, but it slowed down very quickly and was not enough to fire off this big Cummins. And we're showing 10.2 volts. Hopefully you can see that. So it's showing the charge of these batteries. Hit our jump start button. We got 29 seconds counting down. And not quite. We were able to turn it over, but we were not able to jump start it. Now again, that's not a dig at this tool. This is just showing where the upper level is. Now, we will maybe try to do that again once this times out and cools off, and give it one more go. But when I tried to start it earlier without the Milwaukee HotShot on it, it only clicked the solenoid. It didn't even try to crank. So at least it is trying to crank. But again, this is only rated for a 3 liter. This is a 6.7 liter with 2 batteries on it. So it's going to draw a lot of power and need a lot of power to get it going. So one more attempt and we'll leave it and move on to stuff that it's actually rated for. Also tried a 5.9 liter diesel in my International Harvester 766 Farmall tractor with a D360 or 5.9 liter inline 6. It was not able to do that, even though that one had a completely flat battery. Again, well over the rating of 3 liter. I just wanted to see. Now, if I had, say, a 3.4 liter Kubota diesel or something in one of my skid steers or excavators to try out, that would be phenomenal, because it's very close to the 3 liter capacity or upper limit, but it's close enough that maybe we could get it to go past that 3.0 and hit that 3.4 Kubota diesel or something slightly smaller. But unfortunately, I just don't have an example to give you here on camera. So guys, now on to the conclusion, final thoughts and feelings on this new Milwaukee HotShot. As you see, we got the Top Don V4500 Plus up again. Just because of relative size and pricing on both of these products, the Milwaukee comes in at $299 as a bare tool. You will need a battery to run it. Most of us already have the M18 battery platform, M18 batteries, so it won't be that big of a shock to the system buying the HotShot because you'll already have the batteries to run it. The Top Don V4500 Plus is about $249.99 right now, I believe, on Top Don US, and I believe promo code Mr. Subaru 10 is good for 10% off of that. Now, as far as usability, the Milwaukee is a great tool, has a lot of pros to it, especially with the interchangeable battery on the bottom. But as far as overall its usability, especially for someone like me that lives on a farm and has to worry about starting excavators, sawmills, mini skids, full-size skids, Cummins diesels in the Snap-on trucks there, or my tractors, or my Duramax dually pickup, the Milwaukee just isn't going to be feasible for those kinds of tasks. And for me, the Top Don is a better product for what I need. It will do that. It will jumpstart my tractor. It will jumpstart my Snap-on truck. It will jumpstart my Duramax with no issues whatsoever. It has a higher capacity for jumping, especially the diesels, which I have a lot of. Now, if you're just having a gasoline pickup truck, if you've got a F-150, 1500 Silverado, you know, a Ram 1500, contractors, guys like that, any kind of plumber, electrician, whatever, this is great for you to throw in your vehicle. You already have the batteries. You have the batteries readily available to you because most of you are on the M18 platform and have lots of batteries already. So it's perfectly fine for you and your usages. It's great for homeowners. It's great for car owners. Anyone that's got a small gasoline powered car, you know, 8.1 liters, that's a Chevy big block V8 that it will do. So it's got plenty of capability for most people. Just if you're someone like me that has a lot of diesel equipment, farm equipment, bigger capacity diesel engines, it's just not feasible for that. And in that, we're gonna go for the Top Don. But again, it's got its pros and cons, just like the Milwaukee does. At the end of the day, I think the HotShot is pretty well lined up with what the target is. I mean, again, homeowners, DIYers, prosumers, quote unquote, contractors, electricians, plumbers, etc. Something to keep in your personal vehicle, your vans, etc. It will do those perfectly fine. But if you're a landscaper, a farmer, someone dealing with bigger, heavier machinery, bigger diesel engines, and diesel pickups, it's just not meant for you. Maybe we'll see a version 2, Gen 2 HotShot, or a higher capacity HotShot in the future. But right now, this product right now is just not for you guys, but does still seem beneficial for a lot of you out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future Subaru and tool videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.